So we'll be starting in just 30 seconds. You're looking amazing.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
But I think we should get started because we are live on Facebook also. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another masterclass, another Africa Fashion Week London masterclass. They'll continue until the end of June, so I hope that you guys continue to tune into them. This afternoon, we have with us again, we're so honored to have her again, to join us and impart some of her incredible knowledge. We have the incredible Viola Edward. She's a world-renowned psychotherapist. She's been pioneering and developing mental health fitness programs in the workplace and working individually and with actual organizations. And so she's been helping to help and influence people's lives in looking at new ways and understanding, that human beings are multifaceted and there's never one way of solving a problem. And there's never one way of just being able to figure out mental health and mental well-being and self-love. And so it's an absolute honor this afternoon to have with us here, Viola Edwards.
Thank you. While you were talking, I was trying to also share this live interview in my own Facebook so everybody can enjoy it. Thank you very much, Michael. And thank you for African Fashion Week London for this space that has been running now for a month almost with so many different webinars, and still we have more. So thank you for this space, and I'm all here to share with you and answer your question, and let's start.
Exactly. Well, this afternoon's topic is so very important, resilience. And I think with everything that's been happening in the world right now, dealing with the issue regarding racism and, the racial injustice and police brutality, recognition, just dealing with all of those kind of social issues and understanding that how the impact that it's had on all of our lives, that compounded with the COVID-19 crisis and trying to recover and figure out a new norm, a new way of life. Resilience is such an important topic. And before we started our session, you and I were talking about, our own respective journeys, and you mentioned something that you've been, another one of your pioneering, mental health fitness programs that you're developing, organic resilience. Can you please tell us more about organic resilience?
Yeah, yes. Well, I'm building it up. I've been talking about it for a while. It's about, we know that many of us, we have survived to different changes, calamities, but what I'm working about, how did we survive? What part of our being we left on the way? What part of our psyche had transformed? What part of my skin get engaged? Yeah. So what I mean with the neighbors' dogs are in agreement with me. They are celebrating with me. So
yes.
What I mean by organic is that if we manage to go into our therapeutical process and heal the open wounds and traumas and what we keep carrying in that big bag, because open wounds get also kind of interest through the time, like something happened, and if we focus on it or we put it aside, that it will come back, it will keep coming back to show us that there is something to be touched, there is something to be worked in. So after a while, it's like it has increased, it didn't shrink, in the contrary, it's like a balloon that increased. So it kind of fill our system in a way that is not what we want. So then it come another thing like COVID, or like what's happening in the world now, or rejection, or a breakup, or an illness. And then we have a boom. And when we have that boom, because the system cannot hold it anymore, and it penetrates other part of the system, the sleeping pattern, the anxiety, So what happened, many people will not look at what do I need to work with, will cover it in a holiday or in a buying something or going shopping or maybe we're engaged at marry, or it's the way how we are so sophisticated to hide again and again what's happening even to ourselves. So it will increase the pain. And of course we survive. But what I want to see is how much every time we survive, how much we lose. So my concept of organic resilience is that we survive and we win. Because if we manage to heal the past, and then now we're facing the COVID, it's like another event in our life. It's tough. We were not prepared about it. We lost businesses or not, whatever happened to many of us. But all my energy is focusing on that to be able to deal it. It's not, the past will not come to haunt me on the experience. On the opposite, the experience of the past will come to help me, because I was resilient once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And I'm sure you too. I'm sure all of you have been so good in getting over certain situations of your life that were really, really tough. Now, my proposal to you is when you're gonna clear the residual of that, when you're gonna clear that space, so you recovered yourself. And okay, we're gonna have some wound, yeah, some scars. Yeah, I have some scars here, I have one here, a broken bone. You know, every time somebody tell me, what do you have here? Actually, what I have is a story. Yeah, it's a story. That story maybe cost me many teeth, or maybe cost me to lose something, but it's still a story, and I'm alive. And while there is breath, there is life, and when there is life, there is possibilities. So can you imagine if this still a wound and will still open and get infected, and every time I'm talking or I'm smiling or somebody come nearby me, I will be doing like this. Imagine that. This is how our psyche is, like this, holding this wound year after year after years, and then we are resilient but over wound. And I want us to be organically resilient with maybe a body full of scars. It's okay. We're beautiful. We already survived. So how we're gonna do to help others and to help ourselves to continue with our life in this organic way to live life and to be able to support others, not only others in our family or our circle, but others, like so many people nowadays need of our support and our help. And we cannot do it when we have so much pain in the self. We cannot do it in a resilient way. We can do it maybe in a pitiful way, maybe little bit, because the strengths are not with you totally. So you do what you couldn't give to yourself, you're gonna give to others, and then you have to come and take care of yourself. So my proposal to you is look at the self, be organic, and look at the self and see how much more you need to clear. If you need help, ask for a hand, ask for support. There's so many of us around the world that can support you, and go back into that beautiful thing that children and young people used to have, which is the smile and the hope of life, and this miracle thing that is life. I know many things happened that were so painful, and Michael and Marie, we were talking before this, like just I mentioned 3 or 4 things that happened to me from the 13 that I had, but nevertheless, we are alive. So this is my proposal. Organic resilience is that you survive, you're on your feet, you're managing, but the smile is true, is real, and you keep working in your self-development and healing any wound that gave you, to be able to really stand with rhythm and with rhythm, not just scared and just overprotecting yourself all the time and creating more defense mechanism around you. This is the major concept about it.
Wow, beautiful. I mean, it makes complete sense, Viola. It makes complete sense. You mentioned about, how, dealing with wounds. And if you don't deal with wounds, how it gets into the fiber and it spreads for example, the situation that's happening today, and how that wound that was never dealt with, that was never healed, then becomes further infected and spreads into the fiber of humanity. It spreads into the fiber of society, spreads into the fiber of one's life, and how healing is a very important part of that. Could you please give us some steps on a few steps on the healing process? I know you work with being a psychotherapist, being very much a healer in yourself, and a coach. I'm sure you would see these questions all the time, but could you give us some steps on that one would take in the current climate right now?
Yeah. Like in the current climate, for example, imagine for me, I'm originally Arabic. And also my father is coming from an ethnic group that are the Assyrian, that even they don't speak Arabic, they speak their own language, and we were talking about it. And then from early age, I moved to Lebanon, where I learned Arabic and meet my Lebanese mother's family. And at 13, we had to emigrate just before the Lebanese war, and we emigrate as a family to Venezuela. My family is my mother, my sister, and I, as my father passed away when I was 3 years old. So imagine how is it for me to have these three countries, Iraq, Lebanon, and Venezuela, all in trouble, all in pain. Imagine how much it touched me. Especially, I want to tell you about Venezuela. When we arrived to Venezuela, it was early 70s. Amazing, beautiful country, open to everybody. I mean, you could just be. I never felt discriminated as a woman or as a foreigner. This country that hold and receive and welcome so many people from around the world. Look in which situation we are now, in different frontiers, just waiting to get asylum here or there. So of course that break my heart. And of course we have so many friends and family members who are affected for this situation. I was blessed to leave Venezuela before the pain. For some reason, even though I have suffered different calamity in my life, for some reason I have left these places before the big burst happened, like the war in Lebanon. I didn't see it. And now the difficulties in Venezuela in that very acute way, I didn't see it. So plus all what I carry as individuals. So what do I do in this situation now? First with the COVID, and secondly with what's happening in the world about how we will call it, Michael, a situation of culture and racism. I could say, well, I didn't suffer it. Well, yeah, I do suffer it. As you can see, I have accent. And nowadays I have accent in all the languages I speak. So I'm like a foreigner wherever I go, because I left places all the way through. I was born as a foreigner, you know? So what do I do when I feel in pain, or when I feel in fear, or when I feel like in grief? What do I do? So depend who you are, you need to ask for help, and depend how is your intellectual setting and your mindset, you will ask for different help. Yes, for me, it will be a psychotherapy or it will be a breathwork, because this is who I am. I am a breathwork trainer, and I'm a transcultural psychotherapist based in positive psychotherapy and transpersonal psychotherapy. But maybe you have a friend that you will ask for help. Maybe that friend will guide you to go to a mentor, a counselor, or a therapist, or a healer. The most important thing is first that you ask for help. Secondly, that you give all the time to yourself when you go to the interview, being personal on the phone or in a Zoom, as we're doing now, to take all the time to evaluate. Do you feel okay with that person? It's not because your cousin or your sister or somebody said she's wonderful, go to her, she helped me so much. No, now it's you. How do you feel with that person? What do you resonate with it? And make all the question, where this person study, who they are, the cost, negotiate the cost. Ask for what you need, because the therapeutical process is your sacred process to be who you need to be, that in life you couldn't be who you wanted to be. So now that you're going to have that place, that space that you're going to pay or you're going to exchange or whatever is the deal, you need to learn how to be. And this is why your therapist, your psychotherapist, or your breath worker, or your mentor, or whoever, depending on what is the subject you're working, have prepared themselves. They are professionally prepared to hold you. And if you feel that they can't, you need to move, because you cannot repeat with your therapeutical process what you lived at your place, at your family of origin, or at your first marriage, or at whatever is that you didn't feel hold and in a sacred place to be able to bring out of you who in reality you are. So it's very important. Sometimes it takes people a year, 2 or 3 to find the proper mentor, but that doesn't matter, because while you're in action, looking, you're gonna find them, because every time you're gonna know more about what is it that maybe you don't know what you want, but you clearly know what is it that you don't want. Huh? Many people like me, who we were single for a long time, maybe we didn't know what we want, but we were clear about we didn't want until we find what we want. So same, I think a relationship with the therapy is the same. Yeah, and you always can say, thank you very much, it's not for me, and keep looking, research. Nowadays, there's so many information in book, in internet, everywhere. Just search. Don't self-medicate. Don't self-diagnose, please. All these wording about depression and bipolar and psychotic and all these things are used very leger, very light, because many people self-diagnose. Please don't do that. There is people like me who spend years of our life, many, many years, preparing ourselves to give you the proper service. Look for one of us and ask for help. I have to tell you a story I get from a client these days. And she said, we were talking about fear. And she said, when I was like 3, 4 years old, I used to go with my grandmother, who take care of me, to the place where she have to go for her work, for to deliver something, because she was a cook. Or and one day it was late, and we were coming back home through, like, not a forest, but kind of little bit of a forest. And she will always hold my hand. And sometime when it will be late, some people from the village will accompany my grandmother to go to her home. And in that path, in some moment, I felt that I didn't have my grandmother's hand. And she was describing to me, a girl of 4 years old, how scared she was. And she said, in middle of nowhere, I said, I need my hand. And then a hand, which was a kind man who from the village, accompanied them. And then he gave her his hand. And then she continued and she said, I understand what is terrible fear, and what is in a second, that when you ask for help, that fear can dissipate. And I was saying how wise she is at that age to have asked exactly for what she needed, because she couldn't formulate it, I want my grandmother, or she said, I want my hand, because that was the hand. She always have a hand who help her to go home. And I thought, this is a beautiful story. And many times what we need is we need a hand. We need that hand. And if as that hand is not the correct one, you ask for another one until you find yours. So the process is like that, Michael. Some of us need some mentoring. Some of us need coaching to achieve certain things precisely in that time. Some people need more, like me. I needed many years of psychotherapy. I was very wounded. I had a grief that was me for many, many years. So I needed to settle and invest time, energy, and money to be able to learn how to live without the object of my pain, because also the pain become an addiction. Being a victim become a habit to live. Yes. And also I had to learn how to live without addiction. So I went into a process of recovery, etc., etc.
You know, I that last bit you just mentioned about how the pain can become you get used to living with the pain, and the pain becomes an addiction. And so the idea of resilience is then looked at differently. So can you please describe that bit to us, Viola, whereby the pain becomes an addiction and resilience is perceived differently. Resilience have a different meaning then. Please break that down.
Yes, because we already know how to be strong and how to be resilient with the pain. What is my proposal of organic resilience is that you're going to be, I'm going to use the word juicy. I know many of you are going to smile or laugh. How to keep juicy, organic, flexible, with your unique rhythm, resilient without the pain, without the open wound. Of course, if we lost a child, if we lost somebody very dear, if we suffer situation of injustice, of course it should not have been. Of course, it's so painful, but we can heal it. We can fight for justice without holding the open wound. You have to imagine if you would have a broken bone in your leg and you don't heal it, you will faint, you will not be able to go to demonstration, you will not be able to go to fight for your right or for the right of your children. So the psyche is the same, it's the same. You can hold your wound for a while and say, look what happened to me. But at the end of the day, you need to deal with it, because if not, it will not let you walk again. And our inner, our grief, our pain for our losses is it's the same. It doesn't let us move anymore further. Yeah. So I know you survived, but I want you to survive, to smile, to be a fighter of light, a fighter with wisdom, a fighter that you don't put your skin in the process again. This is what I'm talking about, and this is what I do.
And is it now when you mentioned about about the to be able to smile, to be able to have the wisdom, because oftentimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Viola, whereby you, as going back to the whole using the pain as an addiction, where you become you start surviving for the pain, and so, but there's never, does one really heal that way? Does one really heal, or is there in living with that pain?
Well, like I remember from my own story that I grieved my father for 30 years. He passed away when I was 3. And here I was 33 in the coach of the psychoanalysis, still crying. I could not talk about my father without bursting in tears, and a mix of sadness, anger, injustice, uh, victim, left behind, a mix of feeling. I could not talk about him as I'm talking now. This is what I mean. Did therapy return me my father? Well, no. Did therapy return me anything that I have lost in my life? My countries, my languages, my families, that member of family like my father, mother that I never again saw, or my aunties from that first country. No, but my reaction and my relation with them, their spirit, their memory is what it changed. So that doesn't haunt me anymore. That is part of my story. It's a multiple event that happened to me and around me and with people that were related to me, that affected my life and turned the globe, the planets ups and down, but still an event, or multiple events, but still events. And here I am, being part of those events, but I survived those events. So I have a duty with life, don't I?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like I have a duty. I have to honor life. I'm alive. Many people didn't manage that. Even many friends didn't manage that. That went into other way of addiction, or another intensity. So I'm here. I'm healed. This is my duty. Is what can I do with this life? Will I still be in grief, or will I work and recreate myself and serve life? So I know it sounds for most people, or for some people, it could sound a little bit light or new agey. Believe me, I'm not. I'm saying is my life experience that I stayed there for many, many years in the victimhood. And with the victimhood, I managed to learn, to develop, to have work, to provide for my family in the victimhood. But also, I learn, I provide for my family, and I have friends, and I learn without the victimhood. So why will I choose the first one, that every day of my life, I'm leaving pieces of myself on the way and not being a complete person, that what I feel now. So the organic resilience is about that, about thinking that I know you survive. I know you're so strong and you survive. Now, let's go to another survival. Let's go past from surviving to live with giggling, with smile, with strength, with empowerment, with fight, with whatever you need in the moment. So the past is not haunting you. Because also, we just talk about my life, little bit you and me, but there's so many other episodes that created trauma. And again, I survived, like many survival, we survive the trauma. And what we survive the event that caused us trauma. What we keep is the perception of that trauma, the perception of that event that is our trauma. Yeah. And that we need to go into the depth of psychotherapy in combination with another somatic therapy. In this case, in my case, I work with breathing, systemic breathing, based in conscious connected breathing, not only to understand and to reset the mindset, also through the energetic part of the breath work, to remove the memory from the body. That's very powerful. And I think this is what helped me to be who I am today. I was lucky enough in my early 30s, even though I already was cleverer, emotionally speaking, to go to therapy and stop addictions, but still I was in psychotherapeutical process. And when I met first the meditation and later the conscious connected breathing, that it what joined forces for me, and I like revive. And later I did some more work and more research in myself and become very much this person you know me today. And now we're talking about 1993 when I started to deliver this work for others since then. And then also later I learned, because I have worked 21 years in corporate. So I learned how people take their emotion wherever they go, and we spend 8 hours, 10 hours in our work. So we are this emotional complication thing also in our work, yeah? So I know from inside how much people suffer in their work, how much they are in places that they don't want to be. So then I created a methodology, and I took this knowledge to consultancy. And this is what I do as a business consultant, as a systemic business consultant. So it's not the therapy itself in business, but in a way, by my experience as a psychotherapist and mentor, I mentor businesses in a different way, because I know the business from inside, and also my years of experience as psychotherapist. And this is how make me such a special consultant.
Yeah. Very special indeed. And you pointed out very important that the healing process, the process of resilience does take one being proactive, and where one needs to seek help, they should certainly seek help in order to do so. And that help can come in many forms, but it's certainly being acknowledging what it is that you need, and seeking the help from when you do need that help, to don't hesitate to seek that help. You also mentioned about about how important it is to be honoring life. That you can't possibly honor life and not by not allowing yourself to go through the process of resilience. But honoring life is very, very important. So tell us more about honoring life, because that's almost the prize after overcoming and healing and realizing that you've actually overcome, that you are resilient. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, it's an old tango. No es lo mismo vivir que honrar la vida. It's not the same just living than honoring life. And I have taken that, I remember also early 90s, I will take that to the consultancy and I will tell them it's not the same to work, just to work, than honoring our work. So what is needed? What is it that we need to be able to honor our work? And then you can take it to, it's not the same to be just in a relationship than honoring that relationship. So what does it mean? What does it mean in this moment of our life, Michael, that you and me, we honor our relationship? I think it's the third time or fourth that we meet. What does it mean? It means to listen actively to each other. It means not to take for granted certain things, not just to go for the first impression, not to judge without knowing. Yeah, it means that for us, honoring life is what can you do to wake up when you wake up in the morning, manage to have a smile, a gratitude feeling, and think about something positive. Just bring that even to you, that make you smile, you know, because we grow up with other adults that maybe they didn't have this possibility. They didn't have these studies. They didn't have access to all what we have nowadays. Think about your parent or your grandparent. Like my grandparents were very active in my life because my mom came back to live as a widow, came back to live with her parents for when we were in Lebanon. So if I think about my grandmother, apart from her love and all the children that she brought to the world and dealing with different miseries that she had in her life and wars, and I, how many books she read, or what access she had to give the tenderness that as a child I needed? Obviously not. But what I understand is that she gave her best. Maybe as a child, in that time, I thought that best was not enough. But as soon as I have awareness of life, I understood that these women, we're talking about now my grandmother, have given me her very best, her very best. So how can I honor her memory? How can I feel about her? How can it start like this? Yeah. How I can honor life by taking care of the environment, how I can honor my community. Of course, I'm not talking about magic thing, or I'm not talking about just to and transform. Is what is in my possibility. So in me, in my possibility is my smile. In my possibility is to be present when I'm introduced to somebody, look at them, see their beauties, look at their eyes, shake their hand firmly, saying, yes, I saw you. You know, what is my possibility? Then give a compliment, because everybody has something to be complimented by, something that they have, something that they do, something that they inspired, you know. And it starts from these little things. Same thing with me. So if I'm prepared to do that with the others, why I wouldn't do it with myself? Why I wouldn't say that, wow, it's great, Viola, that you're 61 and you're looking great. Okay, your hair become white, but look how beautiful white. What about if I also, without, of course, without getting into egocentrism, but why I would not honor myself, and why would I only focus in the things that are not that great in myself? Why would I say every day, you have 15 kilos on? I can say, because it's there, I see it, but beautifully put together, you know, and my body is wise, and we will recover our shape together, you know. It's like, for me, honoring life will start with the self, with the people who are with you. Don't be sticky. It's not about all the time, you know, it's something that is real. I will never give you a compliment that is not true, but you will think you know that you know me, and I'm somebody who give a lot of compliment, but they are all true. They are absolutely true, because if you look to the other one, they have always something that is beautiful to compliment them and to recognize them. And same thing with the planet. So we cannot abandon our planet. We have planet environment responsibility, and we have social responsibility, and we have family responsibility. But first of all, we have personal responsibility. So what I encourage you to do as the same way as we brush our teeth and we have shower and we go to cut our hair or we go to change our glasses, you need to have your inner routine of hygiene to complement yourself and to love yourself, and also set goals and stories, you know, for yourself, that you become a better person every day for yourself and for your family and for the community. So I'm always thinking myself, my family, my community, the planet, you know, it's like, it's all related. Yeah, it's all related. So this is what it's seen for me, you know. Imagine also I'm dyslexic, so I make a lot of mistake. I lose flight. I book the flight in another month, or I take the wrong transport to the wrong airport. So of course, sometimes it's money that's gonna put me in bad situation. But in that moment also, I can see, oh, okay, what can is how to be mindful, to be here and now, and see here and now. What can I get from this here and now? Because look, I want to tell you something. For people like me who lived wars and escaped from wars and escaped from so many things, and we have so many changes in our life that hurt. Like I never studied in the same school 2 years in my primary school, but just to tell you something. Yeah. The word, the life become very precious, and I feel we don't have time to lose, to gossip, to get into conflict, to all these unnecessary things are not honoring life. Okay, if the conflict come to me and I have to, of course I'm not gonna escape, I have to deal with it. But you know, when you have gone to so many different experiences in life, you are obliged to honor life in this small thing, and this small thing will take you to the big thing. And the big thing, I'll tell you now, what is it? Finding African Fashion Week London.
Exactly.
You see, when I
Exactly.
met with Ronke, it was such a connection, because when you're in the present, there is so many opportunities for you to help and to expand, because you're not in the obsession of what happened to me, what they did to me, what they didn't do to me. You know, you're all the time fresh. You're all the time fresh. So this is what happened, and this is why we met, and this is why I'm here.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, everything that you use, you know, I'm going to apply to what's happening today in terms of honoring life. And you mentioned that in order to, you know, when you think of your grandmother and you think of the people who came before you and how their struggles, what they've had to endure, you feel there's a sense of responsibility also, a good sense of responsibility, a good sense of a reminder that you should honor your life. You should honor life. And you said it is not enough to just survive. Why? Because then it is not enough to just feel like to just survive, because then you feel like you're taken advantage of. You're not acknowledged. You know, there's not, and so there is, and I think in light of what's been going on, you know, with and you know the people standing for that sort of the recognition of belonging, of respect, of justice and equality. There is a feeling that people, that together, that we all need to honor that it is not enough to just survive, that in order for us to, for everyone to feel like their lives, that they are honoring their lives and the lives of the people who came before them, that they should they should be treated with respect. They should have the acknowledgement to feel valued, so that they can, you know, they can smile. They can see that there's, you know, you're going to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Michael, it's true. And at the same time, remember, motivation is intrinsic. It's an inner impulse that make you do something. I think we have confused a little bit that by when we talk especially about our work or our spouses or partners or member of our family. And I hear that a lot. He doesn't motivate me. She doesn't motivate me. They don't recognize me. Yes, but the flame of the motivation belong to you. Maybe the others can put that flame, maybe they have some influence to put it higher or lower. but nobody had power over that flame. Only me, only you. So the first one who really needs to honor, to activate that flame and put it in the maximum every day is the self. And then when you're like that, you know what happened? Well, you're not going to be in relation with people who put you down, because then you're not going to be begging for approval. You already are so self-approved and so empowered and self-loved that you're gonna, if you don't create that mirror, and of course, some people come to our life that they are in trouble and they even cannot love themselves, and we think, okay, but after a while, you can love them and let them go. You're not gonna want to have these people in your life because you're not gonna rescue them. They're gonna pull you down.
That's right. But what about when you know, the issue of when you are looking at, you are trying to, you want to honor life, you know that there's, you know, the thing about resilience, because you recognize there's something better than this. There's
Yes.
something that it's not enough to just live.
Yes.
And so when you find that you're operating within, you're living within a system or a process that that has been created and continues to imprint, to oppress, to impose negatively, and the idea of fighting and the healing process takes longer. What about that process? How does one then navigate the process of resilience, of healing, and go beyond just surviving?
Yes, you're talking to me about being a woman in a system that they don't recognize women, and the woman has no right even to go out of her house. How she's gonna do? You know, you're talking about people who maybe, let's go to extreme, refugees that have no passport. They are stuck there. Yes, stuck, no passport, no recognition. Their country, it was not their decision. They find themselves there. How we're gonna talk to them about resilience? How we're gonna talk to them about smiling? Well, I'm not. I'm gonna talk to them about breathing, about connecting with their breath, connecting with the impulse of life, to be motivated to keep alive. Because if we keep alive, if we keep breathing, if we heal the suppression that our breath had, which is kind of suppression also with source of life itself, and we're just surviving with our breath, maybe we'll find, maybe we can join forces, maybe we could find solution, maybe we can find our art. Like I have a friend who help refugees to, he make exhibition and also of art, painting and sculpture that is made by refugees in the refugee camp. They find, some people find spirit to do that. Yeah. So where these motivation come from? How some people just cannot manage, and they will go more and more into the depth of the loss and the grief and the depression, and other people find the art to survive and manifest it over a piece of paper, or created poems that they don't have where to write it, they don't have computers. So definitely there is a strength that some people have, and I have met some people like this. Yeah. So coming back to your situation, let's say any of us that we're not in an extreme situation like this, what I'm talking about. Yeah. And we are in a relationship that the partner put us down. Yeah. And then we have a work that the boss put us down. Yeah, you're talking about that we don't have, or we have a brother or a sister or a cousin that also where we can survive. Well, you need to find your spiritual family. You need to keep looking to find that person in your life, that friend, that colleague, that he or she see the beauty on you, and it's gonna reflect to you what you need to see on you. And slowly, you will build up the resilience that you will take the authority from the authority. Let me explain. When we were kids, who was our authority? our carers, our parents or carers. Yeah.
That's right.
So this authority could say or do something to us, and we will believe they were the authority. And then in a very early stage, we went to a school. Then they were the big authority. If they told me, you're not good for music, I believed it. If they tell me, oh, you will never learn math, I believed it because they were the authority, isn't it? And we kept those emotional cysts in us because the authority said so. As we didn't liberate that from our system, then here he come, the boyfriend and the good friend. And one day he tell me, don't be imbecile. You know, this is, and what? He become the authority. You remember when we were talking about the imposter syndrome? He find out, well, I'm not that clever, am I? Because after we just started our relationship and he's telling me what I think I am because other authority make me feel like this. So you see, we give the authority to people who don't have authority because we're not children anymore. So you need to break that cycle. And it's very difficult to break it by yourself. And here again, okay, again, I'm talking about psychotherapy and mentoring process and counseling process because you need some support to break that. This partner, this boyfriend have no authority to tell you imbecile or whatever, no authority. You need to take that power of authority from him and you get it, yeah? So you will learn to say, well, certainly I didn't get that, but that doesn't make me any imbecile. And if you ever use that word with me, I'm out of here. But you know, you feel the power inside of you because you become your authority and you will start choosing who are authority in your lives. Not just repeating cycle, because when it happened to you and you were a kid, you could not bring your voice out. You could not say that. But now that you're an adult, but one part of you still that kid that get intimidated by certain people who take the authority without you giving them that authority. And you need to take it back. Is that clear?
Yes.
And very important. This is one of the most important thing in my practice is how to heal parental disapproval, school, and any authority, including in some culture or country's religion, because they hold the authority over us.
Any sort of systematic power that, yes, I think, yes. And, you know, and for those of you who are not aware, when Viola mentioned about the imposter syndrome is whereby one is receiving, is thinking that every good thing that's coming to their life, they don't deserve it. And so they think that they don't belong, that it's actually belongs to somebody else. And so it's looking at that, it's looking at life in that way, which is, you know, again, if you're not dealing with the issues of that cause you to feel like an imposter, if you're not dealing with the issues that make you, that goes beyond you just living, just surviving, then you will never get to the point of really honoring life and honoring the lives of those people who fought so hard or worked so hard and have resilience in themselves to give you the life that you have and seeking that help. I want to ask something also as far as creativity, bring it back to creativity. How does creativity help in one achieving resilience?
Yeah. So completing what you were saying, healing the imposter syndrome that we had such a beautiful webinar with you and Paul, it's also to heal that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Not only I'm not good enough, they're gonna find out that I'm not good enough. So it's double pain. Oh my God, I'm not good enough, they're gonna find out. So how to heal that, and how also to learn how to say, actually, I don't know, because you're never gonna be good in everything. So there's something that, yes, you're not that good enough, and it's good that the word no. So if Michael now asks me a question about quantum physics, I'm gonna say, oh, Michael, I went to so many classes, it doesn't remain on me. I really cannot answer that question, I don't know. But in my 20s, it was not possible to say that. It's like, it was so much pain, yeah, because it was related to my story. And creativity, one of the first thing I want to talk to you about creativity and resilience is that also what affects the organic resilience is the accumulation of stress. Yeah, because then we become kind of resilient to the stress and we walk this kilometer extra, but dragging. Yeah, do you remember that feeling, like dragging? Because we confuse what is stress, but what is creative tension. So I want to help you in the way that if we manage to get that right, and that many things that we call stress is not stress, is a creative tension. For example, today, preparing for this webinar, we had a little bit of creative tension to be on time, to have the good connection, what we're gonna talk about, how we're gonna do it, etc. The webinar before or the other day, maybe the speaker was not on time. That was not stress. We still on control. We can always, you always can come into the camera and say, we're waiting for our speaker, and you have so many subjects to talk about that you could talk the whole hour if the speaker didn't come. Yeah, it's not stress. We can have her or him again. So the idea is to be able to distinguish what is the tension because I'm doing something creative, but it seems like stress, but actually I still hold a little bit of control about it. Yeah, like a sport, like a trip, like something that and what is stress is this type, stress is appear when I am out of control, when I don't have a control. Like in the situation of the COVID, in a way, many of us were stressed because we didn't have control to be able to move, to go to our home, to go to the airport, or in an accident or in a natural disaster. Yes, Michael? So first creativity that we could really get right is like, if you can manage to say, oh, I'm not stressed, I'm just creative tension. Oh, this is how it feels, creative tension. So I still hold a little bit of control. So you don't say you're in stress, and you don't bring the stress to you, and you don't bring the feeling of the stress to your system. Therefore, you solve the situation, you still have, you still have a lot of possibilities. It's not these, many, many possibilities. Maybe none of them you like totally, but there are possibilities, yeah? So stress, obsession, complication is this, creative tension is this, yeah?
That's
okay.
wonderful. I really appreciate that you mentioning that, and how the control that, while there's one could be so stressed by lots of things going on, the fact that particularly for the creatives, holding keeping the creativity going is one way of maintaining control. And
Exactly.
so when you are dealing with this stress, you said, okay, this is creative stress. I'm going to take this and transfer this into my creativity, so that it's part of the whole. So you take control, you switch.
Yeah. It's attention. It is. We cannot say,
Yeah.
oh, everything is okay. No, it is attention, of course, to be on time. There is, but still not stress. You still on control. You still can call. You still can change. So one of my invitation is this: the differentiation is very important, to differentiate between stress and creative tension. Then the other question is, do you want a life without stress? Well, you can say yes, but it's not going to happen. Life includes some stress. But if you manage to minimize the stress to the real stress, you already will have a life with 50% less stress. Yeah. And the other creativity that I want to give you here, which is you can prove it in a science way, is that stress and relaxation cannot coexist. Stress and relaxation cannot be at the same place at the same time.
Wow.
So
but you can use your stress in your creative way, you de-stress and then achieve relaxation and control.
Yes, or you can learn some breathing exercises that you will learn how to manage in that moment and go into relax. Every time you go into a relaxation, one part of your body, one cell of your body, one organ of your body, one part of your brain, one part of your system is detaching from stress. And we know that illness comes because of stress of that organ, of that part of your body. So if you keep doing, if you enter into the world of systemic breathing, conscious connected breathing, and understand what does it mean first to be conscious of the gift of life, which is the breath. And get a pause and breathe. So for some second, one part of your body is getting a little bit of relaxation. So it's systemic, you know, and imagine when we go to a session and we breathe for a whole hour. So we will have another webinar for that. But what I want to tell you is that it's crucial for you to be able to differentiate between stress and creative tension. And it's very important for you to remember that where there is relaxation, there is no stress. So what gives you relaxation? That is not totally being asleep. And I'm not talking about diluting. I'm not talking about deviating. I'm not talking about drinking. So you numb some part of your body. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real relaxation. So go into more connection with the breath and find out that. And coming back to creativity, what life will be without creativity? The whole life is a creation. And then we just heard beautiful talk with Marie about color and creation. And so look, wherever you look around you, you can see the creation. Then you are capable of creating, even though you don't sing, you don't do sculpture, you don't paint, you don't write, you're not a poet. You are a co-creator. What we have to work together is to find, and for that I have a program called The Great, is to find where is your source and where is your resource to be the creator of your life, the creator, the artist, yeah? In my case, that I fall in love, you know, in my youth, I would fall in love with artists. And I thought like, oh my God, I don't sing, I don't write, I don't, you know, where's my art? It took me ages to find out that it was with the speaking. I almost never prepare my speeches, my talks. Is my art is connecting with other human beings, and there my kind of something rise in me. And then some of my students start recording me, and when I saw that word in the screen, then writing become easier. So find your art. If you're longing for creativity, I tell you, in any authority that I have over you, that you're already creative. But please, I want you to be creative for your sanity, for your health, not for your self-destruction, not for to use your creativity to sink more in the pain and in the victimhood. Rise, ask for help. We are here. There is thousands of people like me in the world who are just ready to support you, so you can rise and you can live the life that you deserve.
Viola, this has been just an incredible hour talking to you and literally hearing you share your story, picking your brain that is so full of so much knowledge and so many, you know, ways of understanding resilience and dealing with stress, understanding what it means to be honoring life, that is not enough to just be living, that is not enough to just settle. It's just been truly a wonderful hour talking to you and hearing so much more. I'm really appreciate you going back to something that you are an expert in, and that is the breath therapy that you pioneered also, and how important that is in recognizing the self in the process of dealing with whatever trauma, dealing with whatever struggle, in order to achieve and succeed the process of resilience, understanding how that is important in organic resilience also. I just want to, on behalf of Princess Ronke Ademanui and the entire team here at Africa Fashion Week London, huge thanks again for being here and sharing with us on behalf of the audience and those who are, you know, watching us on Facebook and other platforms. Huge thank you again for being here, and we do look forward to having you again in another masterclass where we can really elaborate more on the breath control
Yes.
and understanding. You know, just I think the knowledge, the message here is resilience is honoring life, healing, not settling, not just surviving because it never heals any wounds, using the creativity as a great way, as a therapy, also as a great way, an outlet to de-stress, to really just have control, a great way to recognize that we are in control also, and how the breath, again, as you said, the breath gives you just the awareness of that breath, gives you control also. Is that correct?
Yes, and you can say, let's breathe it. You can breathe to 20 instead of counting to 10. You can, you can just let's breathe it. When there is something get like, let's breathe it. Yeah, just give yourself 1-2 seconds of pause and breathe into it and see how you can see different angle.
Yes, it's, you know, even when the part of the home test for they would test for one who's struggling with the or who's suspicious of whether or not they have the coronavirus was to test your how many seconds you can hold your breath for. So the breath is again control. If you know you're breathing, immediately it calms you down. It goes from stress to relaxation.
Yes. Yes. And remember that stress inhibits breathing. And then as you go to a dysfunctional breathing, that causes you stress even when you're not in stress. So we will talk more about it next time, but you really need to be aware of that. Yes.
Viola, any other words you would like to leave us with for today until we see you again?
Yes, I want to tell you that initiative like Africa Fashion Week London and Africa Fashion Week Nigeria, and soon is going to be other countries, are very important initiative to support creativity in the world. And here we are talking about Africa and how many of us we just love Africa and our brothers and sisters, our beautiful African sibling. So what I want to tell you is really keep an eye in this organization. Support us, come to us. I know this year we will not have yet the Fashion Week as I say we, because I'm part of them now. I said we. But be connected, be sharply connected, because some surprises are coming. And I also want to tell you that being with us today here, listening to me, you're helping somebody, and continuing with Africa Fashion Week, following them, you're helping somebody to bring their creativity out, to dress us, to create beautiful things, to have an honorable living, to be breathing with joy. So Africa Fashion Week London is more than fashion. It's sustainability, it's social responsibility, and there is much more to that. And I'm so pleased to be together with you. Thank you very much.
We're so pleased to have you. And indeed, the Africa Fashion Week London and Africa Fashion Week Nigeria are platforms that have always been at the heart of these, of our mission is always to ensure that we can help people, we can help those who are just starting out in their careers in the creative industries to deal with the hurdles they might have faced without having our platform. And so having our platforms help in knowing that there's a support, knowing that the support is there helps in the resilience, you know, and that's a really important thing. So it is a really honor to be able to be part of this platform and to be here to support all of you out there in the creative industry. Please reach, as Viola said, please reach out to us. We are definitely here, easily accessible. Go to our website, you know, and check us out. Go to all our social media platforms, Africa Fashion Week London. You can't miss us anywhere. Also, in addition to that, guys, Please, once again, look out for our online intensive course in partnership with Parsons School of Design and Technology Program and Henley Business School. That's going to be running from the end of the month for 6 days, and then the new cohorts will start. But there's still opportunities for you to apply, to enter, and there's scholarships out there. So the course is titled Fashion Futures. Look out for it. You can go to a website, go to our social media handles, and you will see it everywhere. Any queries at all, please reach out to us, send us an email, and we'll answer any of your queries that you have. All right. I want to thank you all so very much again, Viola. Thank you so very much.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you at the next masterclass.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.